Welcome back to My Man Cooks. Today I'm going to teach you guys how to make your own butter. So what we have today is 4 cups or 1 quart of heavy whipping cream. And what we're going to do is we're going to take it to whipped cream. We're not going to add any sugar or anything like that in it. And we're going to take it past that into butter. So you use one thing and you get 2. You're going to get butter and you're going to get buttermilk. I've seen people make butter and they pour the buttermilk down the sink. Why would you do that? You can use your buttermilk for so many other things. If you're doing fried chicken or something like that, keep it, hang on to it. There's so many other things that people use buttermilk for. But we're just using heavy whipping cream. We're going to put it in the food processor. If you don't have a food processor, you can shake it by hand or use a mixer on a higher setting. Because you're going to take it to whipped cream, you're going to notice, hey, that looks like whipped cream. It is whipped cream. That's how you get it. And then you take it beyond that and you get butter. You're going to notice it start to turn yellow and everything like that. It's going to separate the fats and everything. So let's get started. So we're just going to pour our heavy whipping cream into our food processor. So keep in mind, remember that it was 4 cups. So I'm going to show you, oops, try not to spill too much. I'm going to show you how much buttermilk you can get out of it and how much butter you're going to get out of it. Okay? All right, so we have several settings on here: slice and shred, puree or mix, or pulse and chop. I'm going to go puree mix, and we're going to see how long it takes us to get to whipping cream. Alright, so we've been running the food processor for about a minute, if that. Come check out what we've got going on here. This is our whipped cream, and that will give you what you call your stiff peaks and all of that. Alright, I'm going to close the lid back up and we're going to go further on to butter. Alright, so what you're going to notice is it's starting to get curdy, like kind of like a curd kind of thing, and it's starting to change its color a little bit. And you're going to notice as you're mixing, there's going to be a separation. There's going to be some like clear-ish stuff in there along with your heavy whipping cream. I'm just going to do a pulse real quick to see if you guys can see it. So all those little things that were passing by, that's actually the buttermilk separating from the cream, which is giving you your butter. All right, I'll see you back in a little bit. As you can see, we are starting to get butter. Everything's starting to turn yellow. That's the fat separating from the buttermilk. So we're just going to keep on going. We got to take this further. Alright, so here are the contents of our food processor. You can see we've got liquid and we've got this. This is butter and the liquid is buttermilk. Kind of weird how that happens. You get one thing, but you really get 2 things. So here's what I'm going to do. A little bit of buttermilk gets into your bowl. That's fine. I got a little bit in there. That's all right. And of course, me being me, I've got a tool right here just for that. Don't use your fingers, especially on the blades of a food processor. That's kind of stupid. clean your blade off pretty well. Now, once your blade is out of your way, your hands are your best tools for this, okay? So we're going to get our butter out of here, okay? And what you're squeezing out of it is buttermilk. So we put our butter in our bowl. Okay, scoop your butter out. Give it a gentle squeeze. Gentle. Gentle. And get more. Yes, it's messy. It's okay. And it sounds gross, but this is going to be not only the healthiest butter, but the best butter for you, depending on the heavy whipping cream you use. All of our butter is in our bowl, and it looks awesome. All right, so we've removed our butter, and so you can see 4 cups of heavy whipping cream will get you just under 2 cups of buttermilk, or 1 2/3 cups buttermilk. All right, so this next step I do in the sink. Do we have butter? Yes, but we want to make sure that we rinse the butter until the water becomes clear. So if you check out what I'm going to do, some people use water from their faucet, some people use water from their refrigerator. But if you want to come check this out, I've got cold water from my faucet. I'm going to put a little bit in our butter. And as you can see, that's not clear, but that's fine. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to get down in here, and you have to have cold water in order to do this. I just make sure I get all the butter together after I smush it around in the water. And then I will force it to one side. Make sure I have it all. Whoop. That can happen. That's why it's important to use both hands. Okay? Pour out the water that was not clear. Turn the faucet back on. If you're one of those cool people that has like a touch faucet, all the more power to you. I don't have one of those. So as we work our butter together, and again, you have got to make sure it's cold water. As you can see, we're still working it out. Basically kneading it like you would a dough. You can see it's still coming out not clear. Force it to one side again. Make sure we have our hand on it this time. Dump out the unclear water. Make sure our water is cold. We got some cold water. All right, so we're still working through, making sure that we are rinsing our butter. Still not coming through clear yet. And there's no set time. Some people say it's 3 or 4 washes, but it's until the water becomes clear. Or relatively clear. So we force it to one side again. Dump out the unclear water and do the process all over again. All right, so this is what we have. Our butter. I am just making sure that I am squeezing all of the moisture out of it, all the water out of it, And all in all, it took me 4 rinses. So I don't know this to be a fact, but I used 4 cups of heavy whipping cream. Took me 4 rinses. Maybe I'm just seeing a pattern where there is none. But again, just do it until your water is clear. And now you want to make sure you have it in a real good airtight container. What I'm going to use is actually this vacuum seal container. It's at the point now where you can shape it and things like that. If you want to, you can put it in some plastic wrap or some wax paper, throw it into the freezer, and it will keep for a very long time. So as you're making it, you can figure out what you want to use it for. You can break it up a little bit. And what I'm going to do is, right now it is unsalted butter. Okay? What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you something else that you can do with it. So I'm going to take half of this, and we're going to make compound butter. And I'm going to show you what that looks like. All right, we've made our butter. Now we want to make compound butter. I'm going to show you how I like to do it. One of the many ways I like to do it, actually. I'm going to start off by rolling this lime. I'm only going to use half of it. Okay. Half for now, half for later. Our butter that we made, I'm going to put it straight onto the cutting board. Okay, so it has not been refrigerated. It's a bit soft, which is good. So I'm going to just kind of flatten it out a little bit for what I'm going to be doing here to make my compound butter. And I'm keeping that container because it's all going to go back in there in a minute. Okay? So what I have is I have a teaspoon of chipotle chili powder, a teaspoon of cumin, tablespoon of finely chopped dill, teaspoon of thyme leaves, about half a teaspoon of rosemary, and about a tablespoon and a half of some curly parsley, and about 4 cloves of garlic that was put through a garlic press. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start adding this stuff on top of my butter. It's okay if it doesn't get all over the place right now. That's fine. Because it's about to get all mixed in, and I'm going to show you how to do it with just a knife and a cutting board. You can, since it's soft, you can throw it in a bowl. Get all of our dill out of here. Okay. All right. So one of the ways is to just hold your knife like this and gently spread it through. It's going to start mixing everything in it. Okay. Turn it and do the same thing all over again. And you can start to smell everything getting incorporated into your butter. turn it. Same thing. Maybe a couple more times. We'll go one in this direction. But it is all evenly incorporated. So think about what you're going to use your butter for. This butter is going to go on a chicken. I'm going to roast a chicken, and this is going to go on the chicken as it cooks. So it's going to melt into the chicken, the skin. It's going to do a lot of wonderful things to it. You can make one, you can do a butter with rosemary and thyme and things like that. You can add salt and pepper. This is still unsalted, by the way. So I'm going to have to add salt to it later. Or if I season something with salt and I don't want to add more salt, I don't have to add salt. So think about what you're going to use it for. And I've got compound butter. Adding a little bit of pepper, a little bit of pink salt, the juice of half a lime, I just didn't want to do the lime on the cutting board for obvious reasons. You could add cilantro in here. You could add, you literally add anything. Think about if you wanted to put it on a steak, a little bit of salt, pepper, rosemary, and thyme. There you go. But now I'm just going to mix it in here to get the lime juice in it. And it's basically spreading it around. Spread it around. Everything's incorporated. And now I'm going to make sure I can get all the goodies off of there. First of all. And now I'm going to make sure that I vacuum seal this in my vacuum seal container. And this will keep it fresh for a lot longer. And then I'm going to show you how to shape your other one. Alright, so my preferred method is to use plastic wrap. I don't have any of that, so I'm going to use parchment paper to shape this so that it looks like something other than a turd. You can roll it. If you want it blocked, that's fine. Turn it into a block. And there you have a stick of butter. All right, everybody. So we've got our compound butter and we have our unsalted butter. Unsalted butter you can use for baking, cooking, all kinds of things, or if you just like unsalted butter. And then I showed you how to make compound butter. With compound butter, the possibilities are endless. You can use it for steak after you've done and cooked your steak, and
you're letting your steak rest. Take a little silver dollar size, throw it on there, let it melt into the steak. You could even, let's say you wanted to do some brown sugar and cinnamon and stuff like that, and nutmeg. You can go the sweet route with it. So there's really, the possibilities are endless. And I wanted to give a shout out to Missy Reese from Camper Cooking. Camper spelled with a K. She's got a Facebook page called Camper Cooking, and it's a real great place. There's contests and things like that. So if you guys want to go and check out a decent Facebook page where, you know, everybody talks about food and things like that, it's a real good place to go. And I hope that you learned something, and I hope you don't throw away your buttermilk, because you can use it for things. And this is cheaper than going out and buying butter with who knows what process they use. At least you know what the process is for the butter that you've made. And a lot of butters are actually just solidified vegetable oil anyways. So this is actual butter. So I hope you enjoy. I hope you take something away from it. I hope you use it. And thank you for coming into my kitchen. Take care, everybody. Just a real quick note, guys. I know there's some things in the video that I use that you might be interested in. I'm not sponsored by anybody or anything like that. I don't get paid to do these kinds of things. But there's going to be a link to a couple of things down in the description of the video. You're going to have the link for the Food Saver vacuum sealer stuff, along with the food processor that was used in the video. So thanks again for watching, and take care. Thanks for coming into my kitchen.